cyberspace astronauts. Are you ready to be entertained with pointless jibber-jabber and senseless small talk? If so, then you have come to the right place. It's the Todd Cook Show, starring Todd Cook, and featuring music by local and national artists. Now, broadcasting from his garage, here is Todd Cook.
What is going on with me? What is happening in my brain? I think I'm losing it. I'm here, you're here. I'm talking, you're listening. This is the Todd Cook Show. I am Todd Cook. Thank you very much for joining me. I am broadcasting live from my basement in Wichita, Kansas, and I'm thrilled you have decided to join me once again. The Todd Cook Show at gmail.com is my email address. The Todd Cook Show at gmail.com. Feel free to send me an email there. I will listen to it. If it's a great email, I might even read it on the air. But what is going on with my brain? Some of you out there listening to this show that have listened in the past, you know that I normally do a show once a week, and you might be thinking, excuse me, and you might be thinking that, hey, hasn't it been 2 weeks since you had your last show? Oh, you are correct. It has been 2 weeks since I had my last show. And why is that, you might ask? Well, I wish I had a good reason, but I really don't. It was Memorial Day weekend, and my wife and I, as so many other Americans do, had Monday off this week. So for most people, it'd be a 3-day weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But my wife and I also had Tuesday off as well. And so we had Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday off. That's 4 days in a row, and that's something that we don't get too often. And what happened was it kind of confused me, as it would anybody else. When you get a 3-day weekend, you know, that Monday kind of feels like a Saturday or a Sunday. Well, that's kind of what happened to me. And since we had Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday off, when it was Sunday came and it was time to do my podcast, I didn't realize it was Sunday. It felt kind of like Saturday to me. And then when Monday came, it still felt like Saturday. And Tuesday came, and it still felt like Saturday because I didn't have to work. And at some point, I realized it was not Saturday, and tomorrow was not Sunday, but it was actually Tuesday, and the next day was going to be Wednesday. And by the time I realized that, it was late Tuesday night, and I just decided to go ahead and wait until this weekend to do my podcast since I was that late, and it was going to be at least Wednesday night before I could get to it anyway. So I just kind of missed the week. Got busy with the Memorial Day weekend, doing different activities, and like I said, every day felt like Saturday or something. And at some point, I realized it was not Saturday. By then, it was too late. So that's why this show is a little late, or you could say that I just skipped a week. But don't worry. Hopefully, that will not happen again. And I know there's a lot of people out there listening, and hopefully some of you are disappointed. I like to say that I hope I didn't disappoint you too much, but I actually hope some of you are disappointed. If there's nobody out there that was disappointed that there was not a show last week, that would be a little disappointing for me. But I got a good show lined up for you today. I'm going to spend a little time talking about the signs out in front of businesses, the big marquees out in front of businesses. I'm going to tell you how they are so often located in the wrong spot and they need to be changed. I'm going to tell you about how my wife and I got a new ice maker, and that's added a new dimension to our lives, and I'm going to tell you about that. I'm going to tell you about the fireworks. Went to see some fireworks. We got the Wichita River Festival going on, and my wife and I and two boys went to the festival to watch the opening fireworks, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. When you have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, they both you would think would like the fireworks, but so we went to see him as we have every year, and I'm going to tell you about that little experience. And I got music by Scott Allen Nost. He is probably the most featured artist I've had on this program, and I'm going to play another song by him coming up later, so you don't want to go anywhere. And with that, let's get started. Let's talk about the problem with these signs out in front of businesses, and my wife will back me up on this. A lot of times we'll be going somewhere, and I'm not maybe it's a place we haven't been to, or, you know, like McDonald's where there's, you know, dozens of them here in Wichita, and it might be a particular McDonald's that I've never been to. You know, there's one really close to our house I've been to 1,000 times, and a couple of other ones in the town that I've been to enough that I know how to get in and out of the parking lot. But here's a problem that I've run into, and not just with the McDonald's, but other restaurants, other businesses. But I'll use McDonald's as an example. We'll be out traveling around, maybe doing a little shopping, going here, doing there, running errands. Got both kids in the back. We realize that we're not going to get home in time for lunch or supper or whatever. We decide to stop at McDonald's. But we are in a neighborhood that I have not been to very often, if at all. Sometimes it's a brand new neighborhood to me. But Samantha knows that there's a McDonald's here on this street. She's lived in Wichita all of her life, so she's, I think, knows just about where every McDonald's is in town. So we'll be driving, decide to go to McDonald's. I see the big golden arches. Samantha tells me where it's at. So we go down that street. She's like, it should be right up here on the right. And sure enough, there it is. See the big golden arches. Go to the the driveway to go into the parking lot at McDonald's. Yeah, so I see the big sign. Right before the sign, I turn into the driveway into the parking lot of McDonald's, except it's not McDonald's. It's some other business that is right before McDonald's or right after McDonald's, and McDonald's sign is in the wrong spot. It should be either right before or right after the drive into the business. But so often, and somebody out there, if you pay attention, you'll see this is true. The sign to the business is located sometimes 30, 40, 50 yards past or before the actual driveway that you have to turn into to get into that business. Now, a lot of times, whatever business you turn into, the parking lot will be connected to whatever business that you want it to go to. So you might turn and end up in an Arby's parking lot, but the McDonald's you want it to go to is right there, and it's all connected, so you just swing over, and it's not a problem. But there are a lot of times where you pull into what you think is McDonald's, but instead you look and it's like a Jiffy Lube. And then you try to go to the McDonald's parking lot, and you can't. There's a median there, like a grass median, and you can't get to McDonald's. It's right there within your grasp. You can almost reach out and touch it, but you can't get there because there's this grass median dividing the two parking lots. And again, I turned on what I say should have been the right drive-in or the right driveway to get to McDonald's, except for the sign's in the wrong spot. The sign was here, but I should have drove another 30 yards down and passed up another 2 or 3 driveways before I actually got to the one that is McDonald's. And this happens way too often. And my wife will tell you, I've done this numerous times where I pull into the wrong driveway, end up in the wrong parking lot, and start swirling around, trying to do a U-turn to try to find my way back out so I can get to the right drive-in. Or drive. I keep saying drive-in. Driveway in the right parking lot. And so, I'll pull in there and I find myself, getting all messed up, and I'll be going in circles around the Jiffy Lube, and then I'll end up doing a zigzag around Applebee's and crisscrossing through a Walmart parking lot and do a U-turn in front of Ace Hardware, and then find my way back to what I think is the right place, but it's really not. It's like Bob's Transmission, and it'll take me like 3 or 4 different tries, and then finally get to the parking lot of the McDonald's that I'm trying to get to. I don't know why they do this. If you can't put your sign where your driveway is, then you should, I don't know, put it out in the middle of the road or something. Find some way to do it. But it happens to me way too often where I see the sign and I think, well, all right, there we go. Turn in there, and it's not where I need to be. And a lot of times I'll see the sign and I'll get to where the sign is, but there's no driveway there. And I'll find out that I passed it, and then I got to go way down, another quarter of a mile or half a mile or even a mile to the next light, find a way to turn around. And you can't do U-turns. You can't just, go into the other lane. You got to find another driveway, parking lot to get into, or somebody's driveway, of a house or a side street or something. And you keep zigzagging around, and finally you get back to where you need to be. So, folks, if you're a business owner out there and your sign's not in the right place, I say go out right now and tear it down and rebuild it where it needs to be. You're listening to the Todd Cook Show. I'll be right back in one short moment. Hi, Todd Cook here. Do you like going out on Friday or Saturday nights for some supper and live music, but you're not into the bar scene? Because let's face it, when the alcohol starts to flow, those places can get a little loud and a bit rowdy.
sometimes to the point that it becomes difficult for you to enjoy your food or the music? Do you wish that there was a place that had good food, good music, but a less distracting atmosphere? A place that you can enjoy the food and the music but still get home at a decent hour? Well, that place does exist, and it's right here in Wichita on the corner of Douglas and Hillside, or 110 South Hillside to be exact. It's called The Kiln. They have live music every Friday and Saturday night starting at 7 p.m. and ending at 9. The Kiln is a Christian-ran, non-alcoholic establishment that operates solely on donations. And they always have great food and great entertainment. And one of the best parts, you don't need a babysitter. You can bring the kids with you. So for more information, contact Mike through the Facebook page, The Kiln, K-I-L-N, and be sure to check it out yourself this Friday or Saturday night, 110 South Hillside, corner of Douglas and Hillside in Wichita. The Kiln, where they are always glad you came.
All right, I am back. You're listening to The Todd Cook Show. The Todd Cook Show at gmail.com is my email address. You can contact me through there. You can contact me through my Facebook page, or you can contact me through my YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Todd Cook Show. That is how most of you out there are listening to this program, but you can go to iTunes as well and search me in the iPod or the podcast section of iTunes, and you'll find me there as well. Or go to Podomatic.com, Podomatic.com, and you can download my episodes there as well. All right, I'm going to tell you now about the new ice maker that we got, or I should say a whole brand new refrigerator that me and my wife just got recently, or old refrigerator. And actually, I say old, but it wasn't that old. It was maybe 3 years old. Of course, once it started to break down on us, we called about it and found out that the warranty had already expired, so there was nothing we could do about that. So we had to get a new one, and we got one with an ice maker. Now, some of you out there, this is a little embarrassing because most of you out there probably have ice makers already in your fridge or have had them for a long time now. They've been around forever. I think it's pretty common to most refrigerators probably have ice makers in them. But me and my wife are a little behind the times. By a little, I mean a decade or two. So we never had an ice maker in our freezer at home. And for some of you younger kids out there that might be listening, you might not even understand that there used to be a such thing as refrigerators that didn't have ice makers in them. For some of you out there, ever since you can remember, every house you've ever been to has had an ice maker in their freezer. Well, for people like my wife and I, and me growing up, and her growing up, never had an ice maker in the freezer. And so let me explain, you younger kids, like I said, who have always had an ice maker, you might be wondering, well, how did you get ice? Did you have to go to the store and buy the bags of ice? No. Let me explain how this works. They have these things called ice trays, and they're about 4 inches wide and about 8 or 10 inches long. And they got little compartments in there where you fill them up with water, and then you put them in the freezer. And when the water freezes, you get ice, because that's what ice is frozen water. I probably didn't have to explain that to you. And then you take the ice cube tray out, and the idea is that you can twist the tray a little bit because they're made out of plastic, or hit it on the counter a little bit, and those ice cubes will break loose, and you can grab one and take it out and put it in your glass and pour water over it, or Kool-Aid, or whatever it is that you're drinking, and that's how you get your ice. Now, you could have a little bucket in the freezer as well, and so when you bust that tray open, you just dump them all in there and then refill that one so you have more ice later. But typically, it doesn't work the way that you want it to work. You take that ice cube tray, the ice tray, you start twisting it, and one of two things usually happens. Either A, all the ice cubes fly out and onto the counter and slide off and onto the dirty floor, which you'd have to pick them up and rinse them off, or just throw them away and start over. Or you can give them that little twist, maybe like a little upward jerking motion, to try to pop them up out of there. And they pop right out, but then they fall right back into where they were. And you still can't get your fingers on them to try to get them out. Now, one of the simple solutions you would think is to be able to turn that ice tray over and just dump some out into your hand. But the problem with that, it's got 12 compartments in there, so you can have 12 ice cubes. Nobody can have a hand big enough to catch all 12 of those. You tip just a little bit over, and they all fall out anyway. And that's the problem with ice cube trays, is that they never work exactly how you want them to work. They seem to make it a little more difficult to get ice than you want it to. And at some point, you always wonder, is this really worth it? But it's like you almost have to wrestle with the thing. It's like a little wrestling match. You almost want to get on the floor and like start twisting it around. And you're trying to get this ice tray into like a full Nelson, trying to pin it in some way. But I cannot tell you how many times where I'm trying to be real gentle with it and get it just right, but then you can't get the ice to pop loose, and then next thing you know, like I said, they pop out and they go all over the floor, and it just makes a really big mess. So that's how, back in the old days, you used to have to get ice. It was always this big struggle with these ice cube trays to get ice. And then the other problem is, you can get a couple ice cubes out of one tray, and then you use that same tray and get a couple more out one day, and the next thing you know, you got like only 3 ice cubes left in there, and you want 3 is not enough. You want more ice. But if you fill up the water, in the rest of the trays, it's not going to, freeze in time for you to use those. And so you end up having these trays that have partly frozen ice in it, and other trays that are fully frozen. And it's like a big hodgepodge of ice and water and ice, and it's just not worth it. So we finally got this new refrigerator because we had to, and we went ahead and spent a few more dollars to get an ice maker, and had to have the plumber to come out and run the little hose up there, from our basement into the back of the fridge. And now, and for other people out there like myself, like I said, there's a lot of you out there who have probably never lived a day in your life where you did not have an ice maker in your fridge. And there's some of you out there like me who maybe just recently got some, and others out there who probably still don't have any, maybe. So let me tell you, it's really neat. There's no more ice trays. We open up the freezer, and there's a bucket of ice in there at all times. It's phenomenal. And you don't have to break things apart. You don't have to watch them pop out and fall on the counter and slide on the floor, and then you step on them with your wet socks. You don't have to worry about any of that. There's ice. It's like magic. Now, there's some fridges, and get this. You just take a glass and press it up against the button, and it dumps the ice right out onto your cup. And then there's another little button where you can press your glass up against that, and it fills it up with water. Ours doesn't do that. Ours just makes the ice, and I'm not sure how it does it. All I know is when I open up the freezer door, there's a bucket in there, and it's always full of ice. And actually, you got to shut it off every now and then, or overflow with ice. Once it's full, you just shut it off, and if it starts running low, you turn it back on, and it's phenomenal. So no more wrestling with those ice trays. I just had 3 of them that were in there. Once we got this refrigerator hooked up, once we got the ice maker hooked up, after it was all running and making ice for us, I threw those trays away. And my wife said, you want to maybe save them? Maybe we can sell them in a garage sale? And I said, no, I don't want to see those ice trays again. For the last 38 years of my life, I've been wrestling with those things. Hopefully I'll never have to use ice trays again. And with that, I'm going to take another little short break here. Is it break time? Let me try to think here. Yeah, another little break. I'm going to take a break. I don't know if it's break time or not, but I'm going to take another break. No, let's play the Scott Allen No song. I think this is usually when I play the Scott Allen No, or the whatever song I play. I think this is the time I normally play that. And I guess this is what happens when you go a week without doing your podcast. You forget the order of things. So I guess that's all on me. But now I'm going to play a song for you by Scott Allen No. This is a guy that I know. He's from Wichita area. He is currently overseas, I believe in Vietnam or somewhere in Asia, doing a little tour over there. And so I'm going to play a song by him right now. This is Scott Allen Knows with this song called Learn on the Todd Cook Show.
joy was worth every moment of pain. Then I died a man who lived. The beauty of music is knowing where the silence.
Scott Allen Nose on the Todd Cook Show. You can look him up online. Just Google his name, Scott Allen Nose, SCOTTALLANKNOST, Scott Allen Nose. You can find him, his website, or you can go to iTunes as well and find his stuff. That song was brought to you by B&B Towing. If you need anything of the towing department, you call Cheyenne Brown at B&B Towing. You need a tow, you need a jump start, you need a winch out, you've been locked out and need help getting in, you need fuel delivery. If you got an old clunker that's been sitting around in your driveway or your front yard or your backyard or garage and you want to get rid of it, call Cheyenne Brown at B&B Towing. Phone number 316-214-4021. He is out of Mulvane, Kansas. So this is just for those people who are in the Wichita, Kansas area. If you live in, say, Arizona or Saskatchewan or Florida or Korea, he's not going to come and help you. But if you live anywhere in the Wichita area, call Cheyenne Brown, 20-year veteran of the United States Air Force. He's got his own towing company now. Call him for any towing problem you might have. Cheyenne Brown, 316-214-4021, B&B Towing. And with that, it's time to take another short break. You're listening to the Todd Cook Show. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. Do you live in the Wichita area? Are you looking for a great place for lunch or dinner? Do you love live acoustic music but don't know where to go? Try the Artichoke Sandwich Bar. It is located on the corner of Broadway and Murdoch in Wichita, and it is a fantastic place to eat and listen to live music. It is located on the corner of Broadway and Murdoch in Wichita, and what goes better with a sandwich than a cold beer? So look up the Artichoke Bar on Facebook today to find out when they are opened and what musical artist is performing next. They just celebrated their 30th year in business, so you know they're doing something right. The Artichoke Sandwich Bar, 811 North Broadway, Wichita, Kansas, where everything is okie dokie artichoke.
All right, I want to tell you about the fireworks now. Thank you once again for listening. The Todd Cook Show at gmail.com is my email address. I'm going to tell you about the fireworks. Had a little experience watching some fireworks. We got the Wichita River Festival, which is every year in the spring here in Wichita. They have this big festival with a lot of live music and various things. And they always have the opening ceremonies always include fireworks, as well as the closing ceremonies include fireworks as well. But this time they had something a little different. We got there plenty early enough. Sometimes we're late, but this year we're fairly early, and we got there plenty enough time. We stopped at McDonald's and got the kids a Happy Meal, and then found a place to sit down and let them eat and everything before it got dark and the fireworks started. But as we're walking to the area that we're going to sit down and enjoy these fireworks, they did something that they had not done before that at least I can't remember them ever doing. That is this. They fired off a really loud cannon. Right as we're walking by the area, we're maybe 50, 100 feet from where this cannon is, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, it goes off, and it was really loud, and it scared me, and it scared my 2-year-old son so much to the point that he could not enjoy the rest of the fireworks. Now, he's watched fireworks, just last year at the River Festival and the 4th of July. Never had any problem. I mean, he maybe a little scared, but he still, watches them, eyes wide open, staring right at them. But because of this stupid cannon that just happened to go off right as we're walking by and scared him, made him start crying, he had no interest in the rest of the fireworks. And here's my issue with this, folks. Now, some of you might be saying, you're going to a fireworks show, you're going to see a lot of bright flashing lights and a lot of really loud noises, loud bangs. No, this is very different, okay? This was way louder than these fireworks were. At least twice as loud, maybe 3 times as loud as the fireworks were. They were ear-piercing, these cannons. And the difference, one of the biggest differences with the fireworks, you see the fireworks going up in the air, you see the flash of light, and then you hear the boom, okay? You're kind of expecting it. But with this, there was no warning whatsoever. Just boom. Just kept firing off these cannons really loud. They did it probably a dozen times, and you never knew when it was going to happen. The first time was as we're walking right by it, really close. But then we got to a point where we were probably 100 yards, maybe a little over 100 yards away from it, and they still, just at random times, started firing off this cannon. Not during the fireworks. This is before the fireworks. Just started randomly firing this off, and every time it would scare me and scare my son. Now, with me, it just startled me, make me jump. With him, it'd really scare him, and he would hide his face and was crying some, and the rest of the night did not want to look up at the fireworks at all. And they do this at parades, too. They have those cannons, and they'll just randomly fire them off. It's like they just get this big thrill out of making a really loud noise without any warning whatsoever. And I don't get it. And there are some people, every time that cannon would fire off, they were clapping their hands. I just wanted to stand up and say, what is wrong with you people? What about loud noises and being scared makes you so happy? So maybe next year, instead of having a big cannon out there and just randomly firing it off and scaring people, and my son literally underneath the blankets through most of the fireworks, he was just too scared. And his mom had to hold him, and I gave him a hat, and he just pulled the hat down over his eyes and wanted nothing to do with it. Last year, he's 2 years old now, so last year he was just like 1, stared right up at the sky. I don't know if he really loved it, but he wasn't scared. He seemed to enjoy it. This year, blanket over the head, hat over the head. Mom had to hold him the entire time. So I'm thinking all they want to do is make these really loud banging noises and scare people. Maybe next year, just go around with like a quarter of a stick of dynamite and sneak up behind people and light it off behind them just to watch them jump. This is something I just don't understand. Why people have to make these really loud, sudden noises and scare people like that and get a big thrill out of it and act like it's just a part of a show. It was ridiculous. And then they were like almost an hour late getting the fireworks started, which is fine. I can deal with that, but I don't need to be randomly startled about a dozen times before the fireworks even start. And one more thing, we'll end the show with that right here, if I can find the right button to start the closing music. The River Festival always has a little river run, a 2K walk or run. If you want to run it, you can run it. If you want to walk it, you can walk it. And my wife just did it for the 26th year in a row without missing. And I don't think there's anything in my life that I've done 26 years in a row other than had a birthday. And I've done that 38 years in a row. But 36 years in a row, it was a tradition that she started with her dad. And then when she got married to me, I kind of took the place of that. And so me and her have done it every year since we've been married. But 26 years in a row, that says something about tradition. I think it's kind of neat that she does that. And we'll see if she does it next year. She doesn't seem to be quite as happy about it as she has been in the past. It's kind of getting old to her a little bit. But she's got 26 T-shirts to prove it. All right, that's it for this episode of the Todd Cook Show. Tune in next week. I'll talk. You listen.